If you've seen the term digital nomad and you're a little bit confused but also a little bit intrigued on what that lifestyle even looks like or what that even is, then stay tuned in this video because I'm going over everything you need to know about being a digital nomad and how you can actually make that your lifestyle. Hi everyone, my name is Bailey and I've been traveling around the world with my remote job for the past 2 years, and I share everything about life in your 20s and traveling in your 20s on my account. I post right here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, pretty much across all social media platforms. I'll have them linked down below and you can follow me on there for more recent updates. So let's get into the video. In today's video, I'm going over what it even means to be a digital nomad, how you can actually get your work done while you're traveling, random tips and tricks I have, where you should stay, and then how to make friends while you're working remote. So first off, what's a digital nomad? A digital nomad is basically someone who works remote and travels all around the world while they're still working their full-time job. And this can be a wide variety of jobs, especially since COVID. I feel like a lot of jobs have gone remote, or at least hybrid in some scenarios. So I have friends in sales, marketing, I work in social media marketing. I have some friends that are engineers, people that do telehealth, a lot of entrepreneurs. But as long as there's any way you can make money online, you're considered a digital nomad. I think the hardest part about this lifestyle is just actually securing the job, because I know remote jobs can sometimes be really hard to come by. But once you get the job, you're in the clear and you can do anything you want with it. The most common thing that I get told as a digital nomad is, how am I actually getting my work done? Because a lot of people see that I post online about doing these really cool things. I'm going to the beach, I'm going to the museum, I'm going out to dinner, or I'm going out to lunch. Like, I'm just doing all these activities and all these new places that I'm seeing, and they never actually see the working side because that's the less glamorous side, so why would I show that everywhere? So here's some things you need to know about actually working while you're traveling. The first one is paying attention to time zones before you actually decide where you want to go. I've worked remote pretty much all over the world now, and so when I was in Hawaii, I was working from 6 a.m. until like 2 p.m. But then when I was in Europe, in like Greece, I was working from like 3 p.m. to midnight. So you really have to pay attention to where you're at in the world and what that time zone kind of looks like to see when you can actually be productive to get your work done. Because I know if I was in Australia, technically my hours would be in the middle of the night and I'm not going to be able to get any of my work done then. I'm just not a night owl, I'm not productive, and so maybe I shouldn't travel there with my remote job and just actually take a vacation there instead. So you just need to really be smart. I mean, you've done all this work to get the remote job, and now you need to find a way to keep it and make this lifestyle sustainable. The next thing you need to do is stick to a schedule. It can be super easy when you're traveling to just want to do all these random crazy things and just have this very go with the flow mindset, which is great, except for when you're working and when you're gone for long periods of time. It can become very overwhelming. I mean, your environment around you is different, all the people around you are different, your work is the same, but if you're not giving yourself a strict schedule to stick to, you're gonna feel like you have no hours in the day to get it done. So if I'm in Europe, I know I can sleep in a little bit, and I know I have the whole morning to maybe go to the beach or to go to a museum, and I need to be back in my Airbnb by 2 so that I can shower and then start my work day by 3. Just keeping myself to that strict starting point really helps me stay on task and get a lot of things done. And at least for me too, like, I feel so guilty if I'm traveling and I don't actually get a lot of my work done. And so sometimes I feel like I'm even working on overdrive because I'm trying to prove to everyone that I can live this lifestyle and that I can get a ton of work done even if I'm not in office or in my room at home. And so that guilt will eat away with me if I'm not working when I'm supposed to and I'm doing something like going out to a 3-hour dinner instead. And a lot of this just comes with having the dedication to actually get it done. You know, if you're the type of person that's actually gonna get your work done, or if you're just gonna keep pushing it off and then eventually get fired because you're not doing what you're supposed to. You just have to be so on top of everything. Something that I think helps with this is traveling with friends who also have remote jobs. I know this is kind of a luxury and you have to start doing it first before you find those people, but once you find those people, it keeps you so on task. Because now you have other people that are holding you accountable and know what your work schedule is and know if you have a meeting and they're also working too, so then you're less likely to be like, oh, well, I should be out exploring because all my friends are in here working as well. When I'm traveling as a digital nomad, it is so crucial that I have good cell service in all the countries that I go to. I need to have connection on my phone from the second that I land, not just for my own safety, but also so that I can stay connected to my team back home. When you're traveling, you pretty much have 2 options. You can either buy a really expensive plan from your provider, or you can get an eSIM. AirAllo is an eSIM that is trusted by 10 million travelers worldwide as the first and leading eSIM provider on the market. It covers over 200 countries and regions so that you can stay connected. you can say goodbye to those crazy insane roaming fees, standing in really long lines at the airport to purchase local SIM cards, or the stress of trying to connect to the airport Wi-Fi and start using an eSIM. One of the biggest benefits of this is that you even get to keep your own phone number. Download the Airalo app today so that you can stay prepared for your next trip, and then you can use my code BAYD3, which will save you $3 off your next eSIM purchase. Once you download the app, you can search through all their different eSIM plans and pick the one that best fits your needs as a traveler. Once you choose the plan, you can go ahead and install your eSIM using the instructions that they provide and sit back and enjoy your flight. The second that you land, you can activate your eSIM and you will instantly be provided with full service connection. There's so many times that I'm traveling where the airport or the hotel Wi-Fi is so slow that it's basically non-existent, but using an eSIM allows me to have reliable signal no matter where I'm traveling to. Use my code BAYD3 for $3 off your first eSIM. And lastly, you need to check the connection of whatever hotel, Airbnb, hostel that you're going to, because there's nothing worse than showing up and not being able to get your work done because the Wi-Fi is so slow. You can call ahead, you can message the Airbnb host, you can figure out what speed their Wi-Fi is to make sure it's a high enough speed for whatever you need to do. Luckily for me, I don't need that high of a speed because I never take Zoom calls or any sort of meetings in that way. But I know a lot of my friends, this is a bigger deal because they're constantly in Zoom meetings all day. When looking at where to stay as a digital nomad, there's really 4 main places that I recommend. The first would be co-working houses. This is by far my favorite place to stay as a digital nomad, especially when I'm solo traveling. Co-working houses are basically like an elevated hostel where you have your own room in a shared mansion with a bunch of other people that are also working remote. It also feels a little safer to me too because all the people that are part of these co-working houses have to be vetted before they're accepted into the program. My favorite company to stay with is Outside. There's also a bunch of others that I'll list here that are located all around the world. These co-working houses, you have your own room, sometimes your own bathroom, and then you share all the main living spaces like your kitchen, your backyard, maybe a patio, porch, living room, that sort of thing. A lot of times the houses have community managers that will plan events or just let you know what yoga studio they recommend, restaurants they recommend in the area. They're just locals that can help give you some perspective on where you're at. I have met so many cool people living in these houses. People are always willing to go on hikes with you, want to go to the beach, just want to do activities because a lot of times they're solo too. You can also stay in co-working hostels. So this is where you're sharing a dorm. You might even have your own room too, but they're usually a little bit less nice than the co-working houses. And these are places like Selena. Selena is probably the biggest one that's all around the world. These are just hostels that have like these dedicated office spaces for you so that you can know you'll have a quiet place to get your work done no matter what. So they usually have little mini offices where you can take calls and just a big co-working space for everyone to use. Next up, you have Airbnbs, which I really usually only do if I'm with a bunch of other people because it can get kind of expensive. And so if you're sharing an Airbnb with a couple other digital nomad friends, it makes it a little bit more affordable. And I'll do this for longer stays. And lastly, you have hotels. This is what I use mainly for shorter trips. A lot of times there's not really a dedicated workspace, but I will go down to the lobby and actually get some work done. I just don't stay in hotels a ton because I really do like to cook a lot of my own meals and have a strict routine that I'm not able to have in a hotel room. My tips and tricks for digital nomad life are: 1, slow travel. This is where you're staying in a place for a couple weeks up to a month. And this has honestly become my favorite way to travel, especially while working, because I still feel like I'm actually getting to explore the new place, but I'm not stressed about getting all my work done at the same time. I'm able to settle in and go back to restaurants that I really like or find a yoga studio that I'm a big fan of and keep going back and really just start to live like a local. A lot of my days are really cooking my own meals, going to grocery stores, going to a workout class, coming back, working, maybe exploring like one attraction a day or one attraction every other day. It just makes the experience a lot more enjoyable and feeling like you're living normal life while you're gone for such long periods of time. Because the biggest problem with the digital nomad life is the burnout rate that a lot of people experience. Because everything's so new and everything's changing that you want some semblance of a routine and some semblance of normal life. That staying places longer really helps with that. Another one is finding laptop friendly cafes. So I know when I'm in Europe, a lot of the times it's really hard for me to find cafes that will actually let me work on my laptop. And unless there's a really big digital nomad or remote work community in that area, sometimes they can be pretty hard to find because cafes, it's just a different culture there than it is in the US. And so you want to make sure you look up ahead of time what cafes are laptop friendly or not, because a lot of times they don't even provide Wi-Fi if they're not. When it comes to making friends as a digital nomad, it's really just like any other type of solo travel. You just have to put yourself out there and just be willing to take any invitation that comes your way. Really just go out of your way to talk to people online, maybe in your workout class, other people that are living in the house with you or that are in the hostel, going on tours by yourself. In Belgium, I went on this really cool beer tour where I ended up meeting a bunch of people that I then hung out with for the rest of the weekend. Just really trying to make an effort to meet a lot of people. And I kind of do this anyway when I'm solo. That's why sometimes I do love solo travel, because I feel like I meet so many more people than I ever would if I was traveling in a group. But you really just have to fake fake it till you make it and just go out there and just talk to everyone. You have nothing to lose. You can also use some sort of app like Bumble BFF or Going Solo. Going Solo is one specifically for solo travelers, whereas Trip BFF I feel like is more so just like making friends in a new city. So they both have their pros and cons to them, but those are great ways to just make a profile and find other people that might have similar interests to you in the area. I think a big misconception about the digital nomad lifestyle is that it has to be super expensive, and especially when I'm slow traveling, I'm really not spending that much more money. I mean, you're spending rent like you used to at home, you're eating out just as much as you would at home, you're doing new excursions just as much as I would at home. I'm honestly spending the equivalent amount of money. The only things that you have to add in are flights, but a lot of times I get my flights for free using credit card points. So it's definitely a lot cheaper than people think it is, because once again, you're not vacationing, you're just traveling and living somewhere new. That's all that I had for this video though. I hope that helped a little bit in gauging what a digital nomad is, how you can make it your life, some tips and tricks on how to make this lifestyle a reality for you. If you have any more questions, please leave them below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.